Rockwell, radio.
Brothers and sisters,
Radio. Rockwell, radio.
brothers and sisters,
Radio. Radio. Suck. Rockwell, radio.
brothers and sisters,
Radio.
Yo, this is Problem 13 of Wolverine.
Radio.
I'm listening to
Radio.
DJ Rockwell. Holla!
Peace, this is DJ Rockwell, and this is number one DJ, and you are tuned in right now to the very first podcast. Welcome to Rockwell Radio. What's up? What's up? What's up? Assalamu alaikum. What we got to do is share. Share. Hit the like button. Follow. Today is all going down. We have work to put together a show for you today. Man, I see my brother Ahmed in the building was good. Whit Williams in the building in the chat room was good. I see we got audio. That's what's up. We're going to have a time today. Got a lot to talk about, but the first things I want to talk about, DJ Rockwell, why did you decide to do a podcast? It's a billion dudes online right now with a podcast. Why we need another podcast, yo? Why do we need another brother to be telling us what's on their mind? Fox got talking heads, CNN got talking heads. All up and down my timeline is people talking about their opinion. But this isn't just a regular opinion. In my opinion, I think that when we raise a question that we're going to raise tonight, it's worthy that we get as many people talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as possible. Now, we all know who the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is. We all know what hip hop is, or do we? We're going to get into a little bit of both tonight. We've got some guests in the building tonight that's going to dig into it and answer the key question, helping Farrakhan. What is the role of hip hop in our mission? Before I get into that, I had a chance to hang out with DMC of Run DMC fame yesterday, and my man DJ Charlie Chan out of St. Louis. Matter of fact, shout out to DJ Charlie Chan, one of my DJ inspirations. Shout out to G Wiz, one of my DJ inspirations. Shout out to my partner Pepe, one of my DJ inspirations. So I got to stand and watch DMC minus Run go through all of the hits that raised us. And I stood there and I thought to myself, as I watched this audience of every hue and every background sing every word from My Adidas to Peter Piper to King of Rock and all the hits that we all know. And it made me ask, what is this power of this culture that we call hip hop? Do we truly understand it? Are we using it for its best and most useful purpose? I think when we consider what the mission of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is, what the mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, I think the answer is yet to be seen. Let me read to you a thought before we bring on board our guest. And I'll start every show with this thought, or with a thought. If hip hop is a product and expression of counterculture and rebellion of the status quo, it was and is inevitable that it would be attracted to a teaching and teacher whose aim is to expose Satan and ultimately bring down his world. So it's inevitable, family, that hip hop and Islam would meet. So this is my first time doing this, so I want y'all to bear with me. Every technology that you see, every graphic that you see, I'm figuring that out. I'm figuring it out as I go. But bear with me, bear with us as we try to do something for the people. So as I said, we want everyone to share the show, like the show, and this is also streaming as we speak on my YouTube channel. We are driving for 500 subscriptions. So if you're watching, share it via YouTube and hit like, hit the notification button. So when we do the Rockwell radio show, you'll know that we're on live. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Again, the show topic tonight, we're trying to help the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He's got a great mission to raise the dead. If hip hop is a language spoken all over the world, what is the role of hip hop to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in that mission? Today we have in the house to join us, we've got Jihad Hassan Muhammad, who's going to join us later. Jihad Muhammad founded or co-founded the Dynasty Hip Hop Inc. out of St. Louis. More on him later. Later, you'll hear from Enoch Muhammad, founder of the HipHop Detox. Later, you'll hear from Hashim Hakeem, one of the dopest hip-hop recording artists in the nation. But right now, let me introduce to you and read a little bit about the guest I want to introduce to you right now. I want you to put your hands together for a brother who is not just a professional in hip hop. I call him an expert. This brother, and I don't have I think I missed my paperwork, but I want to just tell you what I know. This brother out of DC, representative of the Zulu Nation, moved on, became a member of the Nation of Islam. Not only is he a student of hip hop, he taught hip hop, established hip hop classes and exhibits in the institutions of the East Coast. This brother is a historian of the art of the culture. Please welcome to the Rockwell radio show, my brother and yours, Bboy Atone, the hip hop historian. Black man.
Peace.
I'm trying to go through my work and get over this little stage fright I got, and I didn't have my info right. So I'm gonna keep it moving, black man.
Yeah, no problem.
Now, in addition, with us for the first segment to discuss the question, you've seen him on the cover of The Final Call. You've seen him on a webcast from Chicago. He is a mentor to many. He is a frequent, or was a frequent, if I'm correct, a 4-time contributor with morning show host Steve Harvey on his ranch and mentoring the youth. And his program has no equal that I have seen. I'm talking about none other out of Chicago, Illinois, my brother and yours, Enoch Muhammad from HipHop Detox. Brother Enoch.
Assalamu alaikum. How we doing, brothers?
How's the black man?
Alaikum salam.
We thankful, brother. Staying focused and keeping balanced.
Oh, we're not done. We got more heavyweights in the green room that I'm about to bring to you right now. This is a brother that actually needs no introduction. This brother and his team have been inspiring youth for now multiple generations and have toured the globe as ambassadors for hip hop and as ambassadors for the message of freedom, justice, and equality. This brother is the original member of the S1Ws of the mighty, mighty, historic, and legendary Public Enemy. Please welcome, in representation of Hip Hop for Justice, our brother, James Bond.
Peace, my brother. How you feel?
Brother, I'm so honored to have you, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Brothers, can we just get to it?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me get right to it. The first question has 3 parts, and it'll speak to the show title, which is a question in itself. What is the role of hip hop in the mission if we're helping the Honorable Louis Farrakhan? What is hip hop to you? And what is the mission? And is hip hop a viable tool that can help with the mission? If I need to repeat any part of that, let me know. But I'm going to start with my brother, the Bboy Atone, the hip hop historian.
Yes, could you repeat the first question?
And you're actually the best person to start this question with is, what is hip hop to you? And is it a viable tool to help the Honorable Louis Farrakhan? We're going to get the obvious out the way first.
Yes, sir. Well, hip hop to me, number one, is an extension of Islam, actually. I mean, I have to kind of cut right to the core of it, because without the Islam and the Nation of Islam in particular, there wouldn't be any hip hop. And I think that's something that we have to understand and have to stand on if we want to really help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in our role in helping him do what he needs to do. So hip hop is a culture. I will give the definition that I was given from Africa Bambaataa, who started Zulu Nation, and is kind of integral with the development of hip hop. He said, hip hop is peace, unity, love, and having fun. And then I would include via the arts, or the art of DJing, b-boying or breaking, emceeing or rap, and writing or graffiti.
Yes,
That 4 core elements are the tools that are used to propagate the culture. Notice the first term that was used in the definition was peace, and Islam is peace. So to me, Islam and peace are one and the same. So just like we correct those who misrepresent Islam, who try to represent Islam as anything other than peace, then I feel it's our duty to correct those who misrepresent hip hop as being anything other than peace, unity, love, and having fun.
Yes, sir.
That's what it would be. That's how I would answer that first question.
Let's take it to Chicago and get this question answered by our brother Enoch Muhammad of HipHop Detox.
Yes, sir. Well, because of the work that we do and how HipHop Detox started, and even how I started, when it comes to hip hop, we look at it from a social, scientific, and even a spiritually scientific way, going back to Amiri Baraka when he was known as Leroy Jones. He wrote a book called Blues People. And in that book, he basically dissected and analyzed all the different forms of music that came out of us as a people during the worst, time that we had in chattel slavery. He just tracked all the music that came. So because we couldn't speak our own language, we couldn't use the drum, we had to sing what is known today as gospel music or Negro spirituals. And we put all type of messages in Negro spirituals. And then he went through all the different forms of music, whether you're talking about ragtime, you're talking about jazz, bebop. And then he said at the end of that book, he wrote that there would be a genre of music that would come out that would be a mere reflection of the condition of the Black man and woman in America. So when I read that book, I said, this man was talking about hip hop, because it's a mirror reflection. So when we define hip hop, we define hip hop as being truth without boundaries. Because we define it as being truth without boundaries, it embraces, of course, the cultural definition, which my brother Atone was describing. Because I remember when I met Africa Bambaataa here in Chicago, and we talked, and I told him about HipHop Detox, and the whole idea of what we're doing is saying, look, we have to consider our whole condition and recognize that yes, it's prophetic, yes, it's spiritual, yes, it's psychological, it's economics, it's all of that and then some. And so I'm in complete agreement and harmony with what my brother just said so far, in that it represents peace, and it also represents, if you disturb our peace, we got the right, according to our teachers, to take a piece.
Say that part. Say it loud for the ones in the back. We're going to, first of all, thank you, brother, for joining us. I see my brother in the green room. I don't mean to keep you waiting. Please welcome to the Rockwell Radio Show, the co-founder of Hip Hop for Justice, a brother of whom I'm so proud of. He and the work brother James Baum have been doing since 2015. Please welcome to the Rockwell Radio Show, my brother and yours, Miles Muhammad. Brother Miles. Brother Miles, I got your video, but I don't have your audio. Let me. Are you with us, Brother Miles?
Yeah, let me tell him to turn his mic on.
Brother Miles, are you with us? Okay, he left. Until brother gets situated, dear brother James, would you please address the audience with the question at hand?
Yes, sir. A great question. One of the things that I've learned what hip hop is higher infinite power healing of our people. It's one of the most powerful genres in the world, and that's one reason why the enemy is so after hip hop, because we appeal to the entire youth culture in the world. And it's another reason why they after it as well, is they want to forever keep hip hop 35. They want to make youth up to 35, and hip hop is 47 years old.
How about it?
Right now. But one of the main things I would say, as Public Enemy has traveled the globe, and we've been to 116 countries worldwide, and some of those countries we've been in over and over and over again. That higher infinite power healing our people, this is what's needed. And to add with what I'm saying with that is how this would help Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And just to share this with you, I was in a room with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he said to Public Enemy, Public Enemy is to him as Muhammad Ali was to the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what we was doing. It's one of the most powerful genres to push our agendas and whatnot. See, the enemy, when we first came out, didn't understand how to market it. We pretty much market ourselves, and it marketed itself. They didn't understand it. But then in 1991, there was a meeting in Los Angeles where some very prominent people outside of hip hop, along with some prominent individuals in hip hop, that they wanted to change the dynamics of hip hop from where it was positive and from Poor Righteous Teachers to Public Enemy to Brand Nubian and quite a few other ones, X-Clan. They wanted to change that dynamics to what my brother Chuck's called BET, Booty and Thug Network.
Right.
And they changed that dynamics, and that from that point on, gin and juice was better than getting people what they need from Public Enemy, or for that matter, the Booty and Thug Network was promoting more of the gangster rap more so than the positive and the historical platform. If you can remember, and brother Bboy Atone, can attest to this. Said when hip hop first started, it was all geared towards positivity and uplift. Music is a universal language, so it being positive and being able to uplift. If you get a chance to travel, as I travel, you will see how hip hop has affected entire youth culture around the world. From Japan, I was in last year around this time. I was in Jakarta, Indonesia, where they got the largest Muslim population in the world, and the response to hip hop is so incredible. It's just unbelievable. Where in a Islamic culture, how hip hop has affected people in that but they got 40 million Muslims there.
Wow.
And
Wow.
to see these young people jumping and moving at hip hop. So it's the most effective form of music or genre of music, because you can use anything in hip hop, and whether it's rock or rap or whatever form in which you want to say your lyrics, it matches hip hop in that way.
So there's no question. It's inevitable and undeniable that there's a connection between this worldwide impactful culture known as hip hop and the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and his student, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. It's undeniable. Having said that, I'm going to move right to my brother again, who I see is in the green room, and I believe he's ready. We're going to bring him back in, Brother Miles Muhammad. Brother Miles, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Can y'all
Walaikum
hear me?
salam, dear brother. Yes, sir.
I
Loud and clear.
apologize. I apologize. I was hearing you all the first time, and then the audio went out. And so I had to excuse myself to get back on, so I didn't miss the conversation. And I want to shout out and salute Brother Anthony Atone, Brother Enoch, and HipHop Detox. Of course, my big brother and partner, James Baum of the legendary Public Enemy, and us being together on this beautiful platform on your debut breakout show, DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. You know what I mean?
So, brother, I tell
Yes,
you
sir.
what, your timing is actually perfect, because the next question is directly aimed at you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
On your YouTube page, the tagline beneath the title reads as follows: where art meets activism.
Yes, sir.
After people hear your show, Hip Hop for Justice, what do you want them to take away that they can immediately apply? In other words, what activism do you want to encourage in your listeners?
Well, I think first, and foremost, brother, I have to go back to the root. And I don't know if Brother James covered this, but the root of Hip Hop for Justice comes out of a very brutal murder, outright murder, execution of a young brother named Mario Woods. It started late December 2015. Mario Woods was murdered December the 2nd, 2015. And as a member of the Justice for Mario Woods Coalition, which was made up of over 40 organizations, the Nation of Islam, of course, and several other religious and community-based organizations. But our student minister here, known at the time as Student Minister Christopher Muhammad, now Student Minister Abdul Rashidullah Muhammad, he was really the leading voice on the ground for justice for Mario Woods. And as I was with him, blessed to be with him in the very, very, very beginning of the coalition, the Justice for Mario Woods Coalition. Now, anybody listening or who will hear this in the future should go to YouTube and type that name in, because you will literally see, in my judgment, the most horrific execution of a black man caught on camera, where this young brother, Mario Woods, was shot over 20 times by 5 out of 10 police officers who had their guns drawn. To make a long story short, as we were working, we looked on social media and we didn't really see any outcry like we saw with Mike Brown, or like we saw with Trayvon Martin, or like we saw with Freddie Gray, or like we saw with Sandra Bland and others. The murder execution style murder of Mario Woods was basically a media blackout. There was a blackout on it. And the reason we learned later was because San Francisco was getting ready to host the Super Bowl 2 months later. That's the Super Bowl that Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers were in. That was known as the Gold Bowl. And that's important to know because it was the 50th anniversary of the NFL's #1 game. So when you're getting ready to host the world coming into your city, you don't want that blemish of seeing one of the sons of San Francisco executed by San Francisco's finest. So there was a nationwide media blackout. We didn't understand the effect of that. So we were working on the ground, but as I looked on social media, I didn't see anybody from Black Sports and Entertainment pushing the justice line for Mario. And so my first phone call was made to Brother James. And I inquired, did he even know anything about it? And I sent him the video. And then from that phone call with Brother James, and this is, I think, what gets to the answer of the question. From that phone call came an idea to have a conference call. Brother Atone was one of the original foundational pillars. The name Hip Hop for Justice comes from him. I didn't make that up. That came from Brother Anthony Atone Muhammad, the hip hop historian.
How about it?
And that brother started a Twitter group with the hashtag Hip Hop for Justice. But the name stuck. It's a perfect fit. So what I'm saying is, from that engagement with Brother James regarding a brutal murder execution, a severe injustice, to this very day, that wound is gaping and open. There's no justice. You may read, well, Mario's mother settled for $400,000 or whatever. That doesn't, brother. Look, you can settle. Tamir Rice's mother settled for millions. That don't heal that wound. What heals that wound is justice. And really, to be honest, it don't heal it because it'll never be healed. She wants her son back.
Right.
Sandra Bland's mother wants Sandra Black back.
Right.
You understand? So Mario's mother wants Mario back. And she'll never get him back. So there will always be that empty space. But if we can get active as a people, and I heard everybody up to this point, and I love what Brother Atone said about the hip hop from Bambaataa, peace, Islam, obedience to the will of God, and as a result of that obedience, that practitioner enters into a state of peace. Well, we can all attest that the Black community is in a state of opposite or other than peace. So there's something missing. Obedience and submission is an action taken. And you call that person that takes that action Muslim.
Yes, sir.
So as a result of inactivity, great inactivity, whether it be obedience to the will of God or just taking a stand when you see an injustice, our communities, as the minister said, we really don't have a lifestyle. We live in a death style. We have a death. There's a culture of death in the Black community. So what we want people to do is get active and see that in our unity is our strength. And in our unity, that's the key to our success. So you don't need to be one crying in the wilderness for justice. Colin Kaepernick took that knee, and to be quite honest with you, brother, not only was it the Justice for Mario Woods coalition that stood with Colin Kaepernick long before the world stood with him, long before it was popular, but Hip Hop for Justice was banging the hashtag hands off Kaepernick first.
Come on.
That's a matter of record.
Activism.
And it was our student minister on behalf of our illustrious leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who spoke with Colin Kaepernick and made a connection and let him know he's not standing alone. At that, I'm talking about at that time when it was not popular to take that stand. So I think, brother, to be honest with you, man, that the key thing for us is to activate agents of social change in our community. That's what I see on top of the many other things that our brother Enoch does with HipHop Detox. He activates the youth in particular.
Yes,
in particular, the youth. But it's all about activation. And there's a lot speaking activation, but now we have to catch up to that word. And so we just want to be a part of that effort to activate our people and for our people to see that when you take a stand like Nick Cannon took, or Ice Cube, or Steven Jackson, or any of our brothers and sisters who take stands against injustice, they need to know they're not standing alone, but they got an army standing with them.
I'm going to jump in on that note, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for answering that question, brother. And I believe, I'm looking at the comments right now, they are hearing you and they are feeling you.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Brother Enoch, I'm coming to you.
Yes, sir.
A few years ago, you were featured on the cover, as I mentioned, of the world's greatest and blackest, the most powerful newspaper, The Final Call.
Yes, sir.
Your work has been embraced and received the cosign of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan himself.
Praise.
You have made presentations all over the country, in fact, one here in Atlanta, but people still find what you do hard to define. What is HipHop Detox, brother? And what has been the results of those who have witnessed and experienced it?
You know, it's funny you said that you asked that question in terms of being able to define it, because, you know, when you define even the word mission in your question of helping, you know, the minister, you know, how do you define that word mission? You know, how do you define the role that you play in helping to produce a new nation, you know, to helping to produce the kingdom of God on earth? You know, for those who are unaware, we began doing work with youth in 2002, doing programs here in the city of Chicago. And by the time we got to about 2005, in the middle of 2005, there was several meetings that I participated in with the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan regarding the Millions More movement. And that's when D.A. Smart, our brother, him and I, we went on tour with the minister in 23 cities for the Millions More movement. And the minister said during that time that with all the work that we have to do within those 10 areas of what is called the Millions More movement ministries, find something that you can do utilizing your gifts, your skills, your talents, and your abilities, and go for it. Do it, because it's put out for all of us to join in our own liberation. And so in 2006, HipHop Detox was born. We were doing the work before that. However, after getting that wisdom, that information that came through that 3, 4, 5 month process of going city to city and listening to what the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan was saying to the world, that's when HipHop Detox was born in 2006. So when you consider that we define hip hop as being truth without boundaries, and the detox is the removal of poison, and at the root of all poison are lies, half-truths, myths, viruses. So the reality is that when we talk about hip-hop detox, yes, we're talking about programs. Yes, we're talking about production and formats that we can use in a creative way. But at the core of the work of HipHop Detox, many people understand that if you want to get to the root causes of our issues as a people, then you got to be willing to hurl truth at falsehood until you completely knock out his brains. And of course, it always starts with self first, because the freer you are as a person, the more able you are to move and do your part of the mission. So when people talk about HipHop Detox, yes, we are. You can go Google us and you'll see we're a public health organization. Yes, when we work within the different types of schools, people look at us as a social and emotional learning provider, restorative justice, or restorative practice provider. Yes, we deal with professionals, helping them to be culturally relevant to help young people. Yes, we deal with those who are either incarcerated or in transition from being, in juvenile detention or being in a Bing, and they're trying to get their lives right. We do all of that. However, at the core of it, we're looking at process, how to go from one stage to the next, because the reality is that when you start talking about how do you help, you're talking about process. And lastly, when you talk about process, think about the steps, the word step even, services, training, equipment, program, and processes. What is it that we're able to do to be able to help move people? Because the reality is that all of us got an expiration date. All of us physically got one. However, this right here is infinite. And so if we can put those things out there that can be institutionalized, long after we're gone physically, we'll be alive in our commitment and our devotion to helping that process of taking out these industrialized lies, these institutionalized falsehoods that have trillions of dollars behind them. We're part of that generation here that's geared to just dismantle it completely, but it starts here. We're talking about silent weapons for secret war that is now outright. And as Brother Miles was communicating about the outright stuff, we all see the teeth now. Some of us, it took us a while to see it. What happened with Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and there's so many people after that that have either been hung or killed, or even those who say, well, black on black crime, yet we don't know who the hell it is that's squeezing some of these triggers, because guys I know on the block, they're like, look here, we ain't do the shooting. So we got to figure out, well, just because somebody black don't mean that that person isn't wearing a mask that's black, or that person don't got some receipts. They've been paid to do what they're doing. So
how about it?
All of these issues, but this is warfare that we're dealing with. And so HipHop Detox at the core, we're part of that war for the mind. We're part of that war that goes right into the killing fields, but also goes right into the culture.
Love it, brother. And I've been a firsthand witness to it, and you have been and continue to do an excellent job.
Oh, praise be to Allah, bro.
We're up against the clock before we get into our second segment, but I got maybe one or two more questions to get out to the group. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has gone to great lengths to embrace the hip hop generation. And this has taken the form of giving counsel to rappers, squashing beefs between artists, and even making appearances with them on their records. Did y'all know that? He has won their trust. Has hip hop worked as a tool for you to win the trust of young people? So we're going to ask this in a round table style answer. So I'm going to ask, since we're up against the clock, and I got one more question for your answers to be as brief as possible. Let's start with Brother James, please.
Are you on mute, Brother James?
Yes, sir. I think so, to be honest with you, because being able to see a new generation of young people and they embrace what we are saying, it definitely affects the new generation of young people, because a lot of those people grew up with Public Enemies, and a few of them, quite a few of them are on with you right now that grew up with Public Enemies. So there's a new generation of young people here to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I think is a key factor in this being passing on to the next generation. Yeah, I think so.
Let's move on to our brother, hip hop historian, Brother Atone.
Yeah, definitely. Brother Vaughn, when it comes to young people, that's really what it's all about. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, through his example, if you notice, whenever he talks about the youth and hip hop, he's always focusing in on our new generation of people. And he has a way of, getting on their level and vibrating with them and then taking them up on a higher level. And I actually want to quote the minister, because of course, if we want to help Minister Farrakhan, he's our best example. So I don't know of anyone that could help define our role in helping him than him. And just real quick, I'll just read this quote. He said that Allah God created nothing without an aim and a purpose, and blessed is the man or woman who discovers his or her reason for being. Each of you in this powerful and revolutionary hip hop community may have only wanted to make a good song and make a great impact, but maybe you are not aware that you have been chosen to lead. So I'll just leave it right there. So our role, number one, is to accept our role as leaders. I see Brother Enoch has accepted his role, Brother Miles, Brother James, yourself, Brother Vaughn. I'm trying my best to accept my role. We have to accept our roles first as leaders, and then we got to go back to the younger generation and help create new leaders, because if they're in hip hop, they're leaders by default. But we got to help them develop that in them, and that way we can really help the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Thank you, brother Miles. You're up.
Yes, sir. I would definitely want to echo what my brother said, and Brother Atone reminded me, and early in our Hip Hop for Justice development, we were dealing with, and because of Brother Atone, a great part of it, we were dealing with a lot of legends, a lot of old heads. You know what I mean? We had a lot of old heads, but we didn't have hardly any of the youth, and we recognized that there exists a huge generation gap in hip hop, and all of us can attest to the reality of the sentiment that there's a lot of grumpy old men in hip hop, and a lot of these grumpy old men refer to these youngsters as a bunch of silly mumble rappers, right? And this is the language. This is the language. Some of them you see get on Instagram, or at least they would at one point, and take out a whole segment of time to yell at these mumble rappers. And what I'm saying is that cannot be a tactic that we use if we're sincerely trying to push the culture forward. I think that we have to do what the minister has instructed us to do, and that's close all gaps. So I absolutely think that hip hop, our work, has helped us in our work. We have youngsters in their early 20s that are part of Hip Hop for Justice, and got old heads that just made 60. So we're working to close that generation gap. But I think one of the key things is consistency. As long as we remain consistent, we will win over our people.
I don't know if brother's audio or signal is bad.
He just went on mute.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just went on mute.
Okay. Brother Miles, your system is a little slow. So in order to keep going and get through this first segment, we got one last question for this panel. And again, it'll be answered in a roundtable style format. Here's the question, gentlemen. In 2006, Nas released an album entitled Hip Hop is Dead. Recently, a certain culture vulture in the media lied on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and intentionally mischaracterized his words to 4 million of his subscribers. A vulture, I looked up, is defined as a scavenging bird of prey. They are seen scavenging on the carcasses of dead animals. Is hip hop still dead 14 years later to allow for a culture vulture to do that? It must be, otherwise it couldn't happen, right? I'll start with Brother Enoch.
Yes, sir. Well, you kind of preface, you know, the last part. You said, "Is hip hop still dead?" You know, I love Brother Nas, and you know, when he came out with that piece, of course, I banged it. But let me just say this: you know, when you work with youth every day, and you find yourself in the blessed position, I don't think there's no such thing as coincidence here.
Yes, sir.
I used to get upset a little bit. I'll be honest with you, when I would talk to a 15-year-old and they never heard of the Million Man March. I talked to a 30-year-old, they never heard of the Million Man March. And so it would irritate me because I'm wondering how in the hell could that happen? However, we have to be reminded, you know, we were never taught that no weapon would be formed against the righteous. We just was taught that the weapon would be formed, but it wouldn't be prosperous. It wouldn't prosper. But it doesn't mean that it won't be formed, it won't be utilized, and it won't cause damage. So I don't say that hip hop is dead. I think hip hop is alive and well. However, I think that when you're dealing in warfare, just like any type of war, you have to know that, well, we have to be on the offensive because we just can't keep playing defense. We could talk all day long.
Right.
All those who own the record labels and own distribution. However, we got to pick up that spirit on a greater level. And that's why I'm thankful that, you know, yourself and others have said, hey, let me put my voice out here to actually do the work that we were commissioned to do when we signed that pledge card. You know what I'm talking about? You know,
That's right.
When you signed that pledge card, you didn't only pledge to improve yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically for the benefit of yourself, your family, and your people, but you said that you're ready to go to war. You're going to engage in international trade and commerce, setting this up, establishing this. That's takeover. And that's what we have to do. We have to keep that in mind, that we have a enemy that went to work to the point where you have several generations. They call them the millennials and Generation Alpha, I think they call them, the Alpha generation. You have generations that have no idea of recent history. And so when it comes to, you know, hip hop, and when it comes to us as a people, we have to just recognize that, look, when I have to talk to my 17-year-old son about hip hop, I got to talk about what's going on with Polo G. You know what I mean? I got to study the lyrics of Polo G and check out, you know, Lil Durk, and check out G Herbo, and check out Lil Baby. And I'm working with them because that's where they are. But if I can connect G Herbo and Lil Durk and Lil Baby and all of them to what I was listening to, you know what I mean? Because we know what KRS was talking about in Criminal Minded. we ain't gonna forget what Spice One was talking about. I used to love Spice One. You know what I mean? So we have to always be willing to recognize that, look, the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
That part.
If we can keep that energy going, then we'll duplicate the works and even do greater works than our teacher has done, because the reality is that that's on us to do. So, you know, I don't know if I answered your question completely, because I kind of centered in on that hip hop is dead part. But the truth is never dead as long as Brother James keep bombing, Brother Miles keep sending people's ass a mile and running. You know what I mean? With the truth, Brother keep on hitting that tone, and Rockwell keep on rocking. Look, we gonna keep on bombing them. We gonna keep on hitting them. And the young people, as they see us doing that and they hear from us and we're demonstrating, they're gonna be able to tune in and say, "Oh man, that's what Polo G was saying. That's where he got that from." Polo G got a song where he's using Changes, which is the track that Pac did. He's rapping on Changes, and he's actually putting out some nice lyrics and a nice message for the time, for this generation.
How about it?
So it's like we have to keep on connecting them dots, you know, so then we can keep on building on truth.
Matter of fact, the question was two-part. You just nailed the first part. I'm gonna be more specific and fine-tune the question for our brother James Baum. Brother James Baum, the question dealt with a recent event of a culture vulture. I ain't gonna repeat his name.
Oh, okay.
I ain't even call his name out.
So irrelevant.
But if hip hop was alive, well, and kicking, Could that have even occurred? Or what is an appropriate response to that for a culture that is active, well, and functional?
Well, hold on. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, sir. I think, and I could name a couple of those cultural vultures who've been sucking on our bones for quite some time, making huge amounts of money. And I think he said something to the effect, I got children and I got a wife, but this is after signing artists pertaining to drugs and who the whole drug culture and glorifying that whole situation. Brother said, what a vulture is. The vulture is an animal that eat dead things. I think in our time, and this is why the generation that and I consider my generation as a bridge to the younger generation of hip hop, because a lot of them don't know unless we tell them. And this is one of the things as a parent, I got adult children and I'm still a parent, even if they're adults, because you're still sharing, you're still giving. Like my mother and father, before he passed, used to do the same thing with me. I just think right now in this present stage of hip hop, a KRS-One, a Chuck D, or right now you have Kendrick Lamar and a J. Cole, they would go right after them concerning what was being said. But you all tune in tomorrow and we're going to go after those culture vultures and deal with it specifically and how we should deal with it. And we want to call out some names, right? We're going to just leave the names alone for right now, but we will call them out tomorrow on Hip Hop for Justice.
Praise be to Allah. I can't ask for no more than that. Brother Atone, let's close the thing out. I'm 10 minutes. I'm 12 minutes over this segment. Segment 2, we're coming to you next. So if we can just try to be as succinct and to the point as possible. Atone.
Okay, so it's two things, very succinct. One, your question was, is hip hop still dead? To me, when I hear that question, it's like hearing the question, is Lazarus still dead?
Wow.
Lazarus was never dead. Just like Brother was sharing, Lazarus he was asleep. So all we need to do is move the tomb or the stone from the tomb, take Lazarus, take the napkin off his eyes, unbound his hands, and get him to work. And then he'll be back up and kicking where he's supposed to be, back in his original state. Now, the second part of the question, that's my phone going off there. But the second part about the Million Man March, I'm part of a group here in DC, the Ministry of Arts and Culture. And we produced a documentary. My wife happened to be the director. It's called The Million Man March, The Untold Story. And we asked the minister, we had the Million Man March, but it appears that we're in a worse condition after the march than we were before the march. And the minister's answer was this. He said, we are in a worse condition because we're at war, but we don't know that we're at war. Anytime somebody's trying to kill you and you don't know it, you can become an unwitting partner in your own self-destruction. So back again to what Enoch was saying, when it comes to the Million Man March, we have to be the ones to tell the story properly, help guide our young brothers, but then meet them where they are, and then show them the clean glass that, and be the living example that we want to be and help them to be. But we cannot go at them, in a way where we're, kind of destroying their spirit and becoming unattractive to them. We got to be attractive. And then the last piece I want to say is another word for one of the persons you're talking about is Dracula. Or the impaler, one who sucks the blood of someone else. So that's like someone who represents the 10%, who is a bloodsucker of the poor. So what we got to do is get that leech and detach it from the body, and then go ahead and then organize our people and unify, so they don't depend on that one that sucks our blood and then leaves us lifeless. So I would say that that's the move we have to make as those who represent leadership in hip hop.
Last round, gentlemen. Please, if you will, first of all, let me thank you all for being a guest on the debut of Rockwell Radio. I thank you on behalf of my family who've been putting up with me all week, talking about this and staying up late trying to get these questions together and making noise around the hot. Brothers, thank you. Please, starting with Brother Miles, tell the people where they can follow you, where they can find you, in 30 seconds or less.
Facebook, Miles Muhammad. Facebook at Hip Hop for Justice. Instagram at Hip Hop for Justice. Twitter at the official HH4J. And on YouTube, official Hip Hop for Justice. And the Echo Brother James will be live tomorrow, 1 p.m. West Coast, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And go ahead and tell them real quick what tomorrow's show is going to deal with.
Oh, man, we're dealing with what you just asked about, the culture vultures. West Coast Cam is going to be our guest. We got student minister Abdul Rashidullah Muhammad, Dr. Shango Blake, and we're just going to have a good time, brother, going after the enemy.
All right, I'm going to go counterclockwise to my brother James Bond.
You know me, bro.
Okay. Yes, sir. You can reach me on Public Enemy Group by James Baum. That's Facebook, and you can reach me on James Baum. That's Facebook as well. S1W James Baum S1W at Instagram, and also same thing, James Baum on Twitter. You could reach me there as well.
And coming up to my 1 o'clock on the screen, my great brother Enoch.
Yes, sir. I can be reached HipHop Detox. That's Facebook, Twitter. You can get me fast at 773-563-4315. That's 773-563-4315. We're also, of course, on all social media platforms. Just HIPHOP DETOXX, and just hit us up.
And last but not least, at the top of the clock, my brother in DC, Atone the Bboy.
Okay, right. So best way to reach me on Twitter at Hip Hop Historian. On Facebook, we have a group called Classic Hip Hop Nation. So I would definitely direct folks, if they want to reach me on Facebook, go to Classic Hip Hop Nation or do a search for it on Facebook. And then we also have a radio station that we started with Easy AD of the legendary Cold Crush Brothers.
Yes, sir.
Which is called Classic Hip Hop Radio. And that can be found also on Facebook. Classic Hip Hop Radio.
Brothers, again, I thank you for rocking with DJ Rockwell. May God bless you. May God keep you. May He keep empowering you and removing any symptoms of fear for going after this beast. Grab it up by its tail. Because at this point, in this hour, we can have no fear. And brothers, each of you have exhibited no fear. And I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Brothers, again, I want to personally apologize. I had a nice planned out pre-printed bios to read of each of you, but in my nervousness, I forgot to print it. I'll bring it down. So, brothers,
this was beautiful, brother. Thank you, brother.
So I humbly invite you again for a part 2 in the near future that we can do this as we work out the bugs. So we all come back and be a guest again for a part 2 at some point in the future.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and brother Vaughn, is this recorded, or is there a way for folks to come back and check this out later?
Absolutely. It's streaming live on 3 channels. My personal Facebook page, my DJ Facebook page, and my page on YouTube. And it's going to be rebroadcast as well on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So, brothers, thank you. And inshallah, I'll see y'all for part 2.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Walaikum
Assalamu
salam.
alaikum. Peace.
You are listening to DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and I want to welcome you to Rockwell Radio. We're going to take just a quick second to set up. Matter of fact, before I do that, let me just make sure that everybody, if you're viewing, if you're watching, hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that share button, because what we're talking about right now, only people are thinking about. People are too afraid to even say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's name. But the hip hop community stands in solidarity behind him 100%. Now, Brother Rockwell, is this a show? Is every time you get on, you're going to be talking about Islam and the nation and bean pies and a final call? Nah, sometimes you're going to shoot the stuff. We're going to laugh and joke. We're going to do a little ha-ha and he. We're going to talk hip hop, but we're going to talk about popular culture and we're going to talk about politics. But for the debut show, it's only right that I bring front and center the reason why we're here. The man who woke us, the man who raised us, the man who taught us, and why hip hop is the appropriate vehicle to take that message all around the world. For segment two, we're going to talk to some hip hop artists that ain't playing with this subject. But before I do that, before I bring them on, we're going to play a video so you can see exactly who will be joining us and who we'll be talking to. This is DJ Rockwell. Stand by and watch this.
They got me so pissed. You talking about like, first they want to ban Farrakhan on Facebook, then they want us to apologize for shit we said. Man, fuck them hoes. They say nigga, you need to apologize. I look them and they fucking lie. I'm not your slave hoe. Who do you think I am? Don't give a fuck. You can ban my Instagram. We just some real ones. We talk for the slum. You can come and kill us. How you bring all your guns. Welcome to Chicago. So pretty. Welcome to my city. Welcome to Chicago. So pretty that she blows. There she goes. Welcome to my neck of the woods. Step up if you could. Fix your hat. Yeah, pep up if you could. Like the center for the Bulls.
Welcome back to the second segment of Rockwell Radio. My name is DJ Rockwell. I'm your host, the nation's #1 DJ, and you are tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. And again, I want to thank the panel for segment one for taking time and being guests on our debut show. We got a lot to talk about. But before I get any further, I want to send a big congratulations to our sister, Heck of a Mecca, out of Akron, Ohio, who just bore a child today. She was scheduled to be a guest on today's show, but God had a different plan. So we at the Rockwell Radio Show say Allahu Akbar, and we are so happy, and we all congratulate you. So we want everybody that's watching, send love, send hearts, send likes through this. Shout out to Heck of a Mecca through this, or however you may be watching. So she could not join us today, but who we do have with us is still going to be enough to rock the house and make the point. And again, I want to apologize in advance that in my haste, I didn't get a chance to print out the bios of each artist to tell you about them. So what we'll simply do is just have them tell you about them themselves. So please welcome my first guest for segment 2. Everybody in the nation knows this brother. And if you're not in the nation, you're about to know this brother. He has been an active member of the NOI hip hop community. You may say, what's that? You'll learn more about that in a moment. Welcome our brother, who's a hard worker for the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and his people, my brother and yours, Brother Hakeem. Black man.
What's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing? What's cracking?
Brother, welcome to the show, brother. I apologize for the long-running first segment, but we're going to get right into it ASAP. But we got some more people to bring on the show with us, brother. Is that all right?
Come on, man. Brotherhood, sisterhood.
I
Hey,
wanna,
Rebecca, man, congratulations. No wonder she ain't answering my calls, man.
brother, yeah, she did that thing, brother.
Praise God.
So we give all praise due to Allah, to her and her husband, on a healthy new baby. I yet to even know the gender, but long as the baby is healthy, we thank God. It's a boy. Come on now, that's right. That's right. Come on now. So we welcome all the way from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But I gotta say first, this brother was a St. Louis homeboy all day. He has been known in the St. Louis area first for co-founding Dynasty Hip Hop Inc., who specialized in mentoring youth. He is a columnist, a writer. He has written for The Final Call and many, many publications based out of Texas. Please welcome and brother is also a member of the video you just saw of, I want to say it right. Matter of fact, let me explain it. The song you just heard was F Them Hoes, and is the sum of your fears is the name of the hip hop collective. Pardon me. Please welcome to the show, my brother and yours, brother Jihad Hassan Muhammad. I'm getting a little dry through it, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm like, to my brother DJ Rockwell, to the great,
Salute.
the great Hashem. It's good to see you. Good to see y'all. And I'm thankful to be on the screen with y'all. Thankful to Allah to be, in y'all acquaintance today. And that first segment was just killing them, bro. To brother Atone, Miles, James Bond of the legendary Public Enemy, our brother Enoch of HipHop Detox, and y'all just did a great segment, man. I was learning so much and just in accord with everything y'all was saying. So thank y'all, and I appreciate the opportunity, sir.
And I tell you what, I was searching for some feminine energy to bring to the set. When my sister told me, Brother Vaughn, I just had a baby, I ain't gonna be there. I said, I think baby trumps podcast any day of the week.
Right.
But there was a brother who stood up, who answered the call. He's my brother and Think It Thin. He is also out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He is the minister of Muhammad Mosque number 48. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And he is a hard-working soldier out of Texas, holding the banner of Islam and hip-hop for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Please welcome my brother, Shaheed. Let's go, Shaheed.
It's gonna be nice.
Alaikum, family. Yeah, praise be to Allah, man. It's
hometown joint now
to be on the show with such giants.
Brother, freezing up a little bit. There you go.
Can you hear me? Am I good?
Okay, yeah. Your screen froze for a minute, but you're back. I spoke too soon. It's free.
Okay. No, I was saying, man, I enjoyed the first segment. Also, like brother, thing. I wish I can cheek. I ain't cheeked the brother in so long, bro.
Right.
It becomes foreign if you don't see the brotherhood, man. Something like.
Welcome. You are watching the Rockwell Radio Show, the debut podcast where we're going to deal with Islam and hip hop, and we pose the question in this show, helping Farrakhan. What is the role of hip hop in this mission? We're going to jump right in because I didn't want to keep the people very, very long. But again, I want to say to everybody, we are on a subscription drive on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is streaming this right now. There's a link on all of my Facebook pages. Subscribe, follow, share, like. Subscribe, follow, share, like. Because we're going to do this again. And we want to make sure that you are aware when this show hits the air. Here's question one, brothers, and this is to everybody. Some of these questions are directly to individuals, and some are going to be answered in a round table like fashion. But this one is going to be answered by everyone. Here's the question. We live in a time that the more low down and filthy you are, the more successful you are. We no longer live in a time where the message of artists like KRS-One, Public Enemy, X-Clan, or the Poor Righteous Teachers is accepted in the mainstream. So, from what I know of your music, you have decided to forego chasing mainstream acceptance, which really equates to a sacrifice, a financial sacrifice, if I'm right. What encourages you and inspires you to stay on message as opposed to giving the people the same old content that they're used to? Let's start with Brother Hashim.
Man, that's a beautiful question. I can't say I haven't wavered in my career trying to get that dollar, but I will say
keep it a buck. Keep it a buck.
I remember a time when Cash Money called me out to New Orleans, and they flew me out, and I was in a hotel room from about, I'd probably say about from about 9 in the morning till about 11 that night, trying to come up with something that would appease them. And it was some of my best lyrics that I ever wrote, but it wasn't street or gutter enough. And so it came to about that 9 o'clock p.m. and they came in there and said, man, do we need to do what we do with Lil Wayne with you? Do we need to bring these dope boys in here, man, and they start cooking up the drugs and you document it? Do we need to do that?
Wow.
And I said to myself, I know what y'all want, man. So I wrote some of the most gutter stuff I ever wrote, because I'm from the street too. And they came back and they said, that's what we're looking for. That's it. I went to the studio and recorded it. My conscience was pricking me the whole time. And it got finished. And at that time, it was a group called Gotti and Boo that was just got signed to Cash Money. They're out of Chicago too.
Yes, sir.
And them brothers know me for soldiering the Final Call newspaper. That's all the streets know before Chicago.
Come on,
when
man.
they heard that song, they said, brother, I seen this ain't you. I said, that's what y'all asked me to do, though. That's the only thing y'all want.
How about it?
Back to Chicago, and at the time, the Assistant Supreme Captain, Brother Aziz, he was the first officer. He said, if that's what you want to do, I mean, but is that what you joined the nation for? And so I don't know how I got out of it, but I just told him I came back home and never responded to them again. And that was the end of it. So that right there, I just have to remember that, especially those of us, not just in the nation, but those of us, I know me, let me talk about me specifically. I know I signed up to usher in a new world. I know I signed up to bring in a new world because I'm dissatisfied with the world that we live in.
Yes, sir.
And so if we're going to do that, it's strategies, man. You know, we got military tactics to do that, and we'll talk about that as the show go on. I know I have to keep cognizant and aware of what I'm here for. It's not the dollar. It's not the dollar. And it's and if I do what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's ushering in a new world, my reward has been accomplished because that's in to bring in a new world. Not to be complacent in a world that's falling. This world is falling and it's apparent. I got to be cognizant, dude, what you here for? You got to be true to yourself. It's not the dollar. And if you want to bring in a new world, and if that's what your goal is for, that's what your goal is, you got to remember you're going to have a lot of distractions along the way. But like GM told me, the Assistant Supreme Captain, he said, if you're the point guard and you trying to score, you got 5 opponents trying to stop you from scoring. So you're going to have distractions. But are you going to just give in on the defense, or you going to maneuver and dunk? And I came to dunk. So thank you.
Come on. Bam! That's what I'm talking about, black man. Let's go down to Texas, back to the DFW area. Ooh, it's raining outside. Brother Shaheed, I know you got a slow connection, but so we're going to try to bear as patiently as we can with your statement. So if you will, please take a shot at the question.
I mean, I remember when I first signed my first deal in '98 out of Oklahoma. Man, you all speaking that gutter language. Always been business minded, so I always wanted to go that route of doing our own.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rough one. This is gonna be a rough segment.
And so when I heard the teachings of the, it just changed me totally, and that's what really fuels me not to go back. To say I don't really like to say that I'm a hip hop artist or nothing like that, or I do hip hop. I do resurrection music because that's what woke.
I got an idea.
Make something new.
Because we're missing half of what you're saying, unfortunately. But you know how we do. We like the Marines. We don't plan, we improvise. What I want you to do is call me, Brother Shaheed, and I'm gonna put you on loudspeaker, and I'm gonna just let you be by phone.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So he can just mute the computer, right? That's
right.
Good. He handsome enough to do it. He handsome enough.
Oh yeah, now. So while brother does that, we're gonna stay in Texas and hear from our brother Jihad.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. I want to be clear. Starting in St. Louis with Dynasty Hip Hop Mentoring Program, getting youth off the street with hip hop. As I received such blessing of getting off the street through hip hop. It was through hip hop that I learned of the name Farrakhan.
That's right.
Through hip hop that I learned the name and then wanted to know, who is this man?
Come on.
It was through hip hops, and the reality was when I was maybe 11 or so and heard the name, I wanted to know who he was, because the people speaking his name was speaking it so hardcore. So I make no qualms. If it was not for the mainstream at that time that had not been manipulated by Open Enemy, I would have not heard his name through the culture of hip hop.
Yes, sir.
So I aim only with Allah's blessing, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to speak a language to the mainstream.
Right.
We aim through the sum of y'all fears, which is a collective that's generational, that represents each generation. I don't want to say each generation, but generations of hip hop. The God generation, so to speak, the Jay-Z, Nas era, the Lil Wayne up to Kendrick era, and the Now era. That's right. The 3 members of the sum of y'all fears. One of them is my son. He's 17. And so the reality is we aim to give a message to the mainstream, because the mainstream is where our people are found. Now, the question now becomes, how do we do such? Well, quite recently, we saw I don't want to say the re-entrance, but it's been a while since we've seen it on the mainstream blatantly with the WAP video, and with WAP itself, the word hoe was reintroduced, if you will.
Yes, sir.
It was our sisters that, were referring to the hoes that were in the house, if you will. Slightly before that, we did the song, and our first single was called F Them Hoes. I ain't sorry. We are not slaves. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to get into that, matter of fact. We're going to talk about that.
We wanted to reposition the language of a hoe to them hoes, particularly. These
Not
hoes
us,
that have oppressed us,
them.
those, the open enemy that has oppressed, enslaved, and killed us. Those hoes. We wanted to reposition that language.
Come on.
So make no mistake about it. We aim at the mainstream. We aim with the same amount of veracity, lyrics, hooks, bars, beats, and you know, we got singles, you know, that will attack that mindset in our people that are what? Housed in the mainstream. The little girl on the corner with the big pickle, if you will. So this, I have to give a shout out to my brother James W. Muhammad. We talked about that long time ago when we were, you know, doing our music, and it was like, if we can't reach the little girl on the corner with the pickle, if you will, with the peppermint in it, the little dude walking down the street with a soda with the red hot Cheetos, if we're not reaching them, then we have not become. This is just my opinion, and forgive my passion. We have not become that which awakened us. P.E. was awakening us through hardcore lyrics.
Right.
NWA, whatever you think about them, F the Police is an anthem. And it is an anthem that exists to this day. So we made no qualms about what we had. We
lost, brother.
Where
there
our
you go.
people are at. Somebody called me. I don't know. Shit that came through. We aim at the mainstream where our people are at and where our youth in particularly are housed in these streets. One of our hashtag, like we said, we speak for the slums. That's everybody has their thing, and that's what we plan to do with Allah's permission.
Okay, we're going to come back to our brother Shaheed. We're going to try this again with the phone, brother Shaheed. So what I'm going to do is put my device next to my mic and let you go for it. So if you could briefly try to summarize again what you said.
Well, I'm salam.
The question was what fuels us from not. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
No, he got to mute his screen.
Right? Let me do that. Let me do that.
No, he did.
We good now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good now. Okay, praise be to Allah. What fuels me is what fueled me to change my music in the first place. And it's the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what keeps me from going back to the gutter. Because once you raised up, and then you can actually see where you come from, then you got to strategize and go back and get the rest. I agree with everyone was saying, you know, how they're trying to change hip hop. And even in the last segment, you hit on it like it's hip hop dead. It's been dead since the enemy took it over. We didn't house it on our own talent in the beginning, not enough of it. Where we can package our own product and market our own product and carve out the destiny of our product.
Yes, sir.
I still believe and I know for sure there's a market out there for us. Just like what Carly G said, she said there are a lot of conscious hip hop rappers out there, but y'all won't promote them. Who is the y'all keep talking about? You know, so it's like right now it's just on our shoulders. If they don't want to take it, then the nation come take it. Because we got enough artists to ride the wave. So that's the beautiful thing about our unity in this arts and culture thing. Because it's like Miles Atone said, the arts and culture are the wheels and cars of the revolution. So we got to do more together. We got to be seen in each other's videos. We got to fly to each other's cities. You know what I'm saying? We got to show our love and our unity so we'll build up that type of that energy, the same energy that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has, because the word of God never is dead in each generation. So when we speak in the language right, like it says in our supreme wisdom, when we speak in the verbs in the past tense and in their present tense and in their future tense, right? You know, we gonna get them because they're looking for it. I can tell you right now, I never thought that. You know, right now I got over 10,000 monthly listeners on my Spotify and growing. You know what I'm saying? And it's still growing up with videos and stuff like that. So it's out there. It's just more of us got to do it and be more consistent and help each other out. It ain't always about trying to squeeze your brother to get yourself up.
Yes, sir.
We got to unify. We got to get in our lanes. You know what I'm saying? And then we can get this thing going. And this is beautiful for me because I know when I came into the nation, I came straight off a tour.
Wow.
You know, I was doing a tour with a former Harlem Globetrotters. We were doing a Midwest tour to my brother named Peter Adams. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Peter Adams at KC. You know, we was doing a lot of stuff. He got us in a halftime show for the NBA show. We doing arena league football stuff. And so when I picked up that book, I just happened to pick up that book in Dallas next to the Black Man. And I've been hooked ever since, man. And so I just started switching my lyrics and just looking at everything constant that we can put into it. But we can say the same thing, but it's just how we say it. You know, so you can still have that rough image to it, but then you can change your words. But it's just how you say it. Because if you say it in a wrong way, then you still got to attract that type of brother. Or that type of sister that you try to bring to the phone. So, I mean, I see this as the beginning of a beautiful thing, especially in this digital real estate that we about to conquer. You know, so let's just keep pushing together, Soldier.
Come on, Black Man. Brother, thank you. First, can everyone hear our brother?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
People in the and I got to snitch real fast. I know snitching ain't cool. I got to snitch on somebody in the comment section. Brittany Muhammad said Jahad Muhammad, he an old buster, but he was teaching us.
That's my daughter. That's my daughter.
And he said this big old head teaching though.
I seen it when it popped up. I'm like, boy, happy belated birthday. Yesterday was her birthday too.
Hey, Brittany, happy birthday, sis. Happy belated. We're going to keep the show moving and get to some pointed questions. Brother Hashem, we're coming directly to you. First of all, let me get some clarity. And for myself and for those of our viewers who may want to properly pronounce your name, do you prefer Hashem or Hashim?
Hey, man, you and Brother Shaheed hit me from the Arabic standpoint, but my name is Brother Hashim, man.
Okay. Because when he said it, I was like, damn, I've been saying it wrong all these years. Okay. Brother Hashim, this question is for you. There are few people in the Nation of Islam that do hip hop, whether we heard of them or not, that can call themselves a veteran. And you're certainly one of them. You've released 6 albums with a group, 13 solo albums, and a new one on the way. You even have sons that do hip hop, bro. If I'm correct, you're the only brother in the whole nation that can say you've been in a rhyme cipher with Jay-Z.
Come on now.
They embraced you.
It happened.
So, but even with all of that, MCs that have your kind of message, you know what they say about people like you, people like DJs like me. You get charged with being too preachy. And they say, yo, it's even something, y'all, it's kind of corny. So here's the question, Brother Hashim. Because of that, do you reject or embrace being labeled a conscious rapper? And how do you make what you do appealing to young people?
That's a loaded question right there, man. That's a loaded question. I want to say it's a good question. But I'll say this. The scriptures teach us to be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. But it also teaches us to go without observation. Now, y'all, when I'm with the Final Call newspaper, if I don't have my bow tie on, sometimes they don't know if I'm a Jehovah's Witness. They don't know if I'm a Christian. They don't know because of the language that I know how to speak. So I don't think I've been labeled conscious, but I am. I don't think I've been called too preachy because of the language. Now, this language, like for example, my record label is called Eracism Record. It's the word racism with a letter E in front of it. Eracism. And we take hip hop, kind of like Dynasty hip hop, and we able to maneuver and get into the minds of the youth. but I'm not the face of E-Racism Records. We use diversity. So if I want to put a message out, it may not be me. I got a white boy on my label now. Have anybody seen the movie The Banker? The Banker?
Yes, sir.
I'm familiar, but I haven't seen it. But I'm familiar with
Yes,
it.
sir.
Man, y'all got to go see The Banker. You got to see it.
Right.
If you got an iPhone, you got it free. You got to see The Banker because of his relentless mindset to get what he wanted to get. So he went different channels and went different ways. So I have to, as an artist, see to myself that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was older than all of us, still is the most prominent voice in the world, most powerful voice in the world. At his age, if we watched the July 4th address, did you see the numbers that he got on what's Puffy?
Revolt.
What's Puffy? Revolt. You see the numbers that the minister that we got on that on the Revolt, and they had to take that down.
How about
Which leads me to say, and that takes me to the Nick Cannon and Rabbi Cooper's interview, where Rabbi Cooper told Nick Cannon, if you would have had this conversation in the barbershop or something, it would have been okay. But you had it on the airwaves, which means it got to the millions and the masses of the people. So in order for us to get a message out, we got to be wise too. We can't always want to be seen, but we gotta get into the youth. So now E-Racism Records mean I might want to put a message out, but I might need a white person to do it. I want to put a message out, but I might need a white girl to go get Becky. Instead of a black sister rapping to go get Becky and Bob, I'll write the song and let a white girl do the song and let her go get Becky, because there's millions of followers that we have in the Nation of Islam for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that are not black per se. They white.
That's right. That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And they love the minister. So I'm saying this to your question. I don't care about what you label me. Remember how we started? I got a goal, and that's to usher in a new world. So if I hear something on the radio that is counterproductive to us ushering in a new world, we got to put out a song that that counters what the enemy is throwing at us. This is warfare. It's a battle of the minds now. So we battling for the minds of our people. So if you got my son, like you got people like Ben X, 26-year-old making 6 figures a month. You got a heck of a Mecca. These young people, Golden Child, 20-something years old. If we could take the message and speak the language of the people we trying to reach, it don't matter what you label us. Our
How about
goal is to usher in a new world. You can label us conscious. You can label us positive. You can label us Christian rap. We don't care about none of that. See them 6 figures that he making every month?
That part.
That brother Shaheed just mentioned, I just got up in the digital real estate. So we trying to usher in a new world. It don't matter what the enemy is throwing at us. The question is, what are we throwing at the enemy? So label us what you want to label us. We coming. So thank you for that question.
That part. Excellent answer, sir. Excellent answer.
Oh, man, it just went out over here.
Okay. I see you back in the weight room. Brother, matter of fact, I'm gonna come right to you since I got you on the line, Brother Shaheed. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
This question is for you. In one of your songs, you say, people always asking me, am I a minister or am I a rapper? You walk a fine line because we see you in the streets. In your music, you also shout out your frat. And your videos, you shout out your fraternity. And you pull it all together.
Right.
How does that fare for you in terms of your purpose and mission? As brother just so eloquently said, the purpose and mission is clear. So how do you take all of those worlds and weave them together so effortlessly?
Mm-hmm. Well, in all of those facets of my life, I've strive hard to be the best at. And so I've won friends and I influence people. So all of those circles that I'm part of, being the friend, being the student minister, still being able to put out hip hop music and just be myself. You know, when we come into the nation, we say accept your own and be yourself.
Right.
Well, I took that to heart. And so I've never changed anything that I've ever done since I came into the nation. I've always gave a good word to the frat. They're always there to help us out with the 10,000 feelers or anything that we need in the city. And they are major contributors to the infrastructure of the city.
Yes, sir.
So I use them to navigate in the way they'll need to navigate to make sure that our mission is complete. Between the rapper and the minister, I don't see anything different. You know, you spit lyrics on both.
Go ahead.
Say that again. They missed it. Say that again.
Between me doing resurrection music and being the student minister, I don't think there's nothing different. I just have two platforms that I can teach the same message, but use different language. Being a minister, being on the mic is only 2% of the job. 98% of the job is administration and getting others that help with the mission of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
So using that dynamic, using all of the friends and family that we want in the community, whether it's the music, whether it's going to a rally, or whether it's going to support security at a fraternity event, all they got to do is call the nation. And see, within the nation, we have a lot of members in the nation who are part of Greek organizations, the so-called Greek organizations.
Right.
And you know, the minister asked us to go back and show them our work ethic because they can come help us. We got to move fast, bro. We got to move faster than we've ever moved faster before. We have to build a nation for our people. And the key to it is our unity. We have to utilize all of our talent. It's all hands on deck. Whatever you can do, you got to bring it. This is the purpose of the non-ministry.
Right.
So we can build a nation. And arts and culture is just one facet. I would be what they call monolithic if I was just a one structured individual. But ever since I was born, I've been into multiple streams of income and multiple streams of avenues with different friends and gaining assets in those different areas. So it would only be right for me to go in those different areas and pull those people up to a higher conscious level so we can build a nation.
Thank you, dear brother. Man, when I heard you say that, and when I watched you, you inspired me. I don't think I ever told you that, because in the nation, we don't take lightly the ministry. And some people look at hip hop as a tool that's for play. So people would have never thought that you could be both. So you are very rare in that regard. And I thank you for walking that line and showing us it can be done. Let's move on to the next question. And matter of fact, this is a great segue. That was a great segue into my next question. And this question will also be a roundtable answer. And brother, let me just say this real fast. For some reason, I thought I was going to be able to do this show in 1 hour. So we are 30 plus minutes over my goal, because I believe in trying to hit it and quit it, because if you stay long, the people won't need to come back, because they'll come back for more if you keep it short and sweet. So having said that, I'm going to ask you to strive to keep the remaining answers short and sweet for the remaining questions that I have. Here's the question, brothers. For a long time, Brother Shaheed, Brother Hashim Jahar, I thought that being a Muslim meant that I had to give up my love for hip hop. There are many people out there who are hip hop artists that absolutely love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's be clear about that. But are hesitant to join on to their own because they feel that they have to give up that particular passion or expression. So, brothers, I want you all, as in a summary fashion as you can, look into the camera and tell them why that's not true. Brother Jahar, let's start with you.
Yes, sir. It's definitely not true hip hop in its true culture is to uplift us and to be the Black CNN, as Chuck D said once.
Right.
Of course, we have the great Final Call newspaper. So and taking the message, we're supposed to deliver a clear message, as we are taught from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. A clear message, and the delivery of that message has to be in a language that our people understand. You cannot deliver a clear message, and if I'm speaking English and a person is speaking Chinese, we're not going to understand each other.
Right.
So a Muslim, as we are taught in the Nation of Islam, is to be a deliverer of the clear message. And there's no clearer message than hip hop delivered rightly, So these things go hand in hand. These are the things that we have to remember, when we approach it, the clear delivery of a message, So yes, they definitely are synonymous. It's a definite way to do it and deliver it. And, we must always think about the whole and the state that our people are in and deliver the message. The language of hip hop is a language that our youth relate to. And so we have to speak that language clear to them, but give them positioning to their true enemy, their true self, which is God, and the plot to destroy themselves. Those are the things that should be in the delivery of such message. So yeah, it goes hand in hand in the creation of hip hop, as our brothers on the first segment, went into it so greatly about that history from our godfather of hip hop, Afrika Bambaataa, and the mighty Zulu nation. It's synonymous: the peace, love, unity, having fun, etc. And of course we know that Islam is peace. So yes, that is my answer.
Brother Hashim, tell him why it's not true.
So first I want to tell you, Sister Heck of a Mecca text me. She sent you the greetings, man. She just texted right now. She said she just had a baby. So praise God.
Wow,
but anyway,
Alaikum salam, sis. Congratulations to you and your husband,
Brother Mutaka. So ask me the question again.
I'm gonna summarize for the second time. People love the minister. They love the nation. They love the teachings. But in hip hop, some of them are afraid to come around, and some of them are afraid to even join because they feel they have to give up hip hop culture to be a part of what we're doing inside the nation. Tell them why that's not true.
Man, when you said that, I just started thinking about everything that I had to give up when I came in. And the minister, I just said this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan lived that life, so we didn't have to do that.
Come on.
He went through all that already and paved the way for us to where he said, one rap song is more effective than how many of his sermons? What did he say? 10 sermons or 100 sermons?
1,000.
1,000 sermons.
It was 1,000.
So he understands that hip hop is the language of the youth. So they don't have to give up that. What we had to give up is all of these things that would prevent us from rising as a people. We didn't have to give up hip hop now, or we didn't have to give up rap music. And on the first segment of the show, man, that was a star-studded panel you put together. I got to give it to you. Star-studded. And I like what Brother Miles was saying, man. Hip hop is just like, it's a natural resource. And anytime you got a natural resource, our open enemy finds a way to monetize it and take it over. I don't care if it's oil. I don't care if it's gold. I don't care if it's the black culture. They have found a way. And it's funny how they don't vulturize any other people but us. Imagine basketball with no black people. Imagine Hollywood with no black people. Imagine the NFL with no black people. So what people got to realize is the Nation of Islam is a whole nother world to counter the world that we all don't like. The Nation of Islam is a whole nother world to counter police brutality that you don't like. the Nation of Islam has its own government to counter the government that you don't like. So no, you don't have to give up hip hop. What you have to do is join forces with what you already don't like, we don't like, and let's pull our resources together and knock the enemy, man. That's don't worry about no titles, Muslim, Christian, man. And you know that the Nation of Islam ain't a part of the police brutality. They ain't beating up us.
Right.
Matter of fact, they fear us. Why you think Nick Cannon got in trouble? So, and y'all saying, why he apologizing? Why Nick Cannon? He told the truth. Why? Because he's in another world that we trying to knock out. So I ain't knocking Nick Cannon at all. He served his purpose and he still is maneuvering. And I don't want to put him out there like that. But Jay-Z said something that Kanye said something that Jay-Z taught him, and I'm done on this point. Kanye said Jay-Z taught him how to maneuver in a room full of vultures. Culture, vulture.
Quote.
Maneuver in a room full of vulture. So I'm saying all that to say, come on and join on with us. Who is got, like the minister say, he got his foot up the backside of our open enemy.
Right.
Mike Tyson said they are battling for the minds of our people, and Farrakhan is giving them a run for their money. Come on and join with us. You frustrated? You dissatisfied? You tired of this world? Come on and join with us.
Right.
Thank you, Vaughn.
My brother, we're gonna finish it out with you, brother Shaheed.
Mine is short and sweet. Hip-hop always evolves. Our music always evolves. And like Brother Hashim was saying, just look at the minister. Look at the minister's life. Look at how he guided us with his music. So today he puts out a double CD with some of the top 10 artists that's in our culture. So you're going to have arts and culture in the nation. So we're not going to get around that. It's in our soul. We're born on a certain rhythm. And it ain't going nowhere because we're part of the universe. So when you want to put that dirty glass next to that clean glass, which is the nation of Islam, come on over here and give your shahada.
Come on now. Man, I did not mean to keep the viewers watching this long, but if you're still with us, and I see that quite a few of you still are with us, and I appreciate you and I thank you. Follow DJ Rockwell on all social media. Make sure you follow these brothers, and by the end of the show, I'm going to have them give out their information as well. So again, we're driving for subscriptions on the YouTube page. Go to YouTube and search for DJ Rockwell, and you'll see in the tagline that it's the home of the Rockwell Radio Show. Subscribe so when we do this again, you can get a notification of when we'll be on the air and who we'll have as next guest. So let's move to the conclusion, brothers.
Yes, sir.
I've realized now we all men of a certain age. I ain't gonna say old, but we all men of a certain age here. Oh, but before I do that, before I move on to that question, I want to shout out to Sister Angela Muhammad, who's in the comment section, who is first of all, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, Sister Angela. She is the wife of our brother Atone, the historian. And she was like, yeah, all y'all, that's cool and all, but what is that? So we did indeed have some feminine energy planned for you, dear sister, but she had the highest calling of Allah to do today, and that was to give birth to a God. So we did have a sister scheduled today, and what I'd like to do, if sisters will come back, I want to do an all-female panel to discuss the subject. So to make up for the absence of the feminine energy today, because let's get one thing absolutely clear, again, not have it twisted. We ain't going nowhere without the black woman. We ain't going nowhere without you. So having said that, let's move on to the next question. I realize as we get older, brothers, my tolerance for filth and entertainment gets a little smaller. You know what I'm saying? But like others who are our age, I grew up on Freaky Tales by Too Short, After Police by NWA, and Two Lives Crew whole album As Nasty As They Want to Be. Can I Get a Witness?
Yeah.
I felt like a hypocrite because one day I walked in on my son and he was playing some music that I didn't approve of, and I was like, "Boy, if you don't cut that junk off in my house," you know. And I realized I was becoming my father, you know. So here's the question: if I'm correct, all of us on this show are parents.
Yes, sir.
Is your music 100% profanity free? And if it isn't, should it be? And does music that has some harsh language necessarily conflict with the truth you're trying to convey? So, and brother Jihad.
Oh, you gonna just come to me, huh? Hey, I'll take that.
I'm gonna kick it to you first.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to speak on that, and then we'll move around the clock.
Yes, sir. Really quickly. I know the time is in essence here. Of course not. Blatantly. Let me be clear. No, it's not profane free. The streets are not profane free.
That part.
And our youth are not profane free. I never wanted to become. I recall vividly. My brother brought a mixtape back with the Memorex mixtape with the pink and yellow on it. I don't know if y'all recall that joint, but and it had Just Ice was on there.
Come on.
Gangsta Rap was on there.
Right.
Other Side, Boys in the Hood was on there. You know, and the first P, Public Enemy #1 was on that joint, and I was listening to it, and my mother was like, "What are you listening to?" Blah 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 blah. I never wanted to be that person, you know, and I'm not that person with my children and with the youth that any youth that I've been blessed to be involved in their lives mentoring. I have not been that person, and it makes us relatable to them. We're not, you know, casting them out as, oh, you can't play. To me, you know, NWA's F the Police is a revolutionary song, just like Fight the Power. To me, there is no doubt about it.
I concur.
I don't put it on the realm of Freaky Tales or you know, anything by Two Live Crew. I really didn't listen to Two Live Crew. That was just me. I was big in the lyrics, and they had none as far as I was concerned. I don't negate Luke's presence and what they did for freedom of speech and things of that nature. But the take-home message is this: no. You know, we aim with the same veracity to take the same veracity and force and power that the enemy is aiming at our children with, and redirect it to our youth, and point them at the real enemy. It's just that clear. So that language has to be spoken in a certain way, and then on other songs it may not be spoken in a certain way. It just depends. But with my children, they know, and children that know me, you know, youth in the streets, that's how we relate. But we're at the same time, we're aiming them in the direction of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know, when Chuck D said, you know, when Chuck and Flavor said, you know, F a Grammy, won't give F, you know, I don't want to say the lyric, but you know, you know, at the same time they had already aimed us.
Goddamn Grammy.
Come on, now,
right, that part.
You know, they had already aimed us in the direction of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we may not have heard of H-Rap Brown or anybody else. So that part it made them tangible for us. It made us be able to relate to them in a certain way. And so everybody doesn't have that. Everybody, that may not be your calling, but that's where I'm at with it, if that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. But
Yes,
Hashim,
sir.
let's go. You cussing him out, Hashim?
I'm gonna say, I'm a man. Yes, sir. No, I'm not cussing him out. This is real touchy, man, because sometimes I think, man, do I want my children quote all my songs lyric for lyric? And do I want them saying certain things? So, Brother Jihad, you're right. I remember as a child, man, me sneaking to listen to some of them rappers. Because of the discipline and the sheltered and the strictness of my mother, I was not allowed to listen to that type of music. But NWA, I used to sneak and listen to them.
Right.
And, you know, like Brother John said, man, it's kind of hard, man. They was lyricists. They can flow.
Come on now.
Talk about some other, you know, some different. But, you know, there's some pros and cons of that music. But I'll say this. A wise prophetess. Is this show censored, Brother Vaughn?
No, sir.
A wise prophetess, female prophetess said, through all my logic and my theory, I add the word motherfucker so these ignorant
niggas hear me. Come on now. And she is a wise
Wise
prophet.
words
Right.
never spoken.
I heard a brother tell me one time, Brother Hashim, man, you are cold. Lost found. He said, man, all you missing is some cussing. So I'll say this. Yes, we use it, but it got to be used not loosely. It got to be used loosely. Like if somebody say F the police, that's kind of a slogan now. You know what I mean? That's kind of a, but if I say I ain't fucking with them niggas, I won't use it in that context. So I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, you can't be diplomatic when you're trying to get justice. So when we at war, man, just imagine us rapping and saying, stop killing us, please. Give us jobs, please. Right. It don't make sense to talk in that language. So it's language is real key. For example, I was in the studio one time and the brother was saying, Brother Hashim, your voice, and you told me about my voice too, Brother Vaughn.
Okay.
The brother said, your voice is so powerful. You don't even gotta, it commands people to listen to you. You don't even gotta cuss.
I did say that.
I want to get a certain audience and get a certain effect, I'll use it sparingly. Not only would a person be shocked to say he cussed, but they'll say, but look how he used it. It wasn't derogatory. I'm not calling my sisters bitches.
That's right. That's right.
It's in a sense, I can say this, get the hell out of here, and have all y'all smiling, or I can say, get the hell out of here.
Changes everything.
Words, but I gotta make it mean what I need it to mean. I need the effect that I need to give it. So when I'm talking to an audience, man, I can teach on this for a long time. I'll use it sparingly, but appropriately. But certain words I won't use at all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Minister Shaheed. Did I lose him? Brother Shaheed, are you? There he is. There he is. Oh, wait. Quick announcement. Sister Heck of a Mecca sent the text. And she said, it's a boy, and the boy's name is Malachi Abdul Kafid Muhammad. Happy birthday, Brother Malachi.
Allahu Akbar. Yes. Allahu Akbar.
Okay. So, sister, again, congratulations to you and your family. We are with you. We are with you. We are with you.
Brother Mutaka.
So, Brother Shaheed, I know you can't cuss him out. You a minister, man. You can't cuss.
But yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Right.
No, but in the music, I mean, you know, some may slip out here and there, but you know, things aren't being expressed like everyone else was saying. I'm not into cussing them out every other word is a cuss word, this and all, and all that. But if that's the only way that you can express your point, and it comes over in the way that it should be coming over, then that's the word that needs to be said. In my language and in the music, I just write, and I don't really cuss as much as I used to. Anyway, so I've learned my vocabulary has got a little bit deeper. But again, it's how I say it. It's how I use it. It's how it rides on the beat. You know, that's gonna get the young person. It's the style, it's the language, is it the present day style, or is it the old style, is it the future style? You know, but we got time to develop that in the nation. For those who don't have it. But we just gotta come together and keep doing it. But you don't have to go back and connect because we turn out a new world.
Yes, sir.
Ain't nothing coming into the new world from the old world.
Right.
So we gotta make something.
Brothers, I got a quote on the screen that a brother in the message area. I'm sorry. We still talking, Brother Shaheed?
No, I'm reading.
Okay. Brother says, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan says, stop tickling our children's ears with bullshit about God.
Allahu Akbar.
Bruh, that's real. And you know what? I think that's a proper closing point because I'm now at the 2 hour mark, and I meant for this only to go an hour. Brothers, if you will, first let me say thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank to every listener, every viewer, every person who has commented, all of the panelists from segment 1.
Yes.
I want, if you don't mind, give me some feedback. We want to know, do you want to see more of the Rockwell Radio Show? Should there be a part 2 or part 3? Should we continue? Is this subject worthy enough that we should do a part 2? Do you want to see an all-female NOI hip-hop panelist
all of that
this subject and more subjects?
Come on.
Because I want this to be a place where we can discuss the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we can also talk about the lyrics on the latest Nas album. I want this to be a place where we can quote what the minister said in last Sunday's lecture, and this will be a place where we can dissect the lyrics of Rakim's first album. This has got to be a place where we can unite these two worlds, because the culture is all over this world, but the problem is we ain't the head of it.
Go ahead.
Somebody else is sitting in our seat. So with that, I want to close, and I want to thank every one of you again. So let's go quickly around the room, and brothers, tell us where everyone can follow and find you, starting with Brother Hashim.
So y'all see my name on the screen. That's my handle on IG, and that's my handle on Facebook, and that's it. So that's where you mainly can find me, but we're working on the website right now. But I just subscribed to DJ Rockwell on YouTube. And so I want you all to just not just watch this on Facebook, but click the YouTube link where it says DJ Rockwell and subscribe to this and share this on your page, because you know the people need to hear this kind of information. But while you at it, after you subscribe to DJ Rockwell, I want you to go to YouTube and subscribe to Hashim Hakeem. So Hashim Redeem Hakeem on IG, Hashim Redeem Hakeem on Facebook, and just Hashim Hakeem on YouTube. Thank you for this opportunity, brother DJ Rockwell.
Jihad, let's go with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Again, it's been a great show. You can find me at Jihad H. Muhammad on IG. You can find me on Facebook at Jihad Hassan Muhammad. You can find the Sum of Y'all Fears, which is we speak for the slums. You can find us at the Sum of Y'all Fears. Facebook. You can find us at the Sum of Y'all Fears, at the Sum of Y'all Fears on IG. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Bang, first single. It's, creeping up there. It's hit about the 55,000 mark, in the last couple of months, if you will.
Come on, congrats.
Hoes, we ain't sorry, and we ain't sorry, because they some real hoes, and we mean that. And so we redirecting that back to our youth, to these real hoes. No doubt about
the real
it.
ones,
You know
baby.
what I'm saying? We talking about them hoes, and we talking about them real hoes, and we want our youth to know who they are. So bang, look up F them hoes on F them hoes, I ain't sorry, on YouTube and on Facebook as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity. To my brother, Student Minister Al Shaheed. There he is on DJ Rockwell show.
Brother Shaheed, you got the final word, sir.
I love y'all, brother. If you want to follow me, you can go to my website at therealruku.com. That's therealruku.com.
Go ahead, spell it out for him, please.
THEREALRUKU.com.
One more time.
THEREALRUKU.com. You can find me on the Real Ruku on Instagram, or you can find me in Jihad's office doing an article in the final call.
Well, and matter of fact, what I try to do in on my pages and on my social media is put all of your contact information where people can follow and keep up with you and the great work that you're doing for the Honorable Farrakhan and the community. So that's it. We did it.
Lastly, one thing. Please follow the hashtag Hip Hop Respects Women. The hashtag Hip Hop Respects Women, which is a hashtag that I co-founded. It deals with the uplift of women in hip hop here on local radio here in Dallas, etc. Hashtag Hip Hop Respects Women. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Al Shaheed. Thank you, the great Hashim and DJ Rockwell. Assalamu alaikum.
Family, we did it. Thank you all for joining us for the debut broadcast of the Rockwell Radio Show. Comment, feedback, follow, subscribe. This is DJ Rockwell, and you were just rocking with Rockwell Radio. See y'all again soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Rockwell Radio.
Brothers and sisters,
Radio. Rockwell Radio.
brothers and sisters,
Radio. Radio. Fuck. Rockwell Radio.
brothers and sisters,
Radio.
Yo, this is Problem 13 of Wolverine.
Radio.
I'm listening to DJ Rockwell. Holla!
We out.